Welcome to episode 7. Don, how are you, my friend?
Good. We're at episode 7 right now?
No, I
Jeez.
lied. Episode 8.
We're at
I lied.
episode 8.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Episode 8. And for y'all who don't know, episode 8 was, we had it in our mind that episode 8 was going to be our real episode 1. And that 1 through 7 was kind of being our, dipping our toes and finding our ground.
Well, we've been kind of working out like the kinks and also being able to talk to each other, for the most part. So it's been pretty good. Honestly, I'm glad to hear especially seeing people chime in our post, our highlights and Instagram. So it's always great to see people, especially people I haven't seen in ages. And not that I've completely forgotten about them, but just more of life really takes you in a specific direction, and then you're just trying to reel yourself back and catch up with people.
Anyone
Yeah, man.
notable in the people that you said, oh, that hit you up?
Not to necessarily name drop, but I guess if they're watching right now or listening, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I saw Jasmine comment also. Jasmine commented.
Word. Yeah.
I actually just want to hang out with them now that I see them, also doing their thing, and just I missed them. So that means that we've been at this for effectively 8 weeks. So
8? Huh. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and I don't think we've
noticed
ever
for 8
missed a
weeks.
week. We may have missed a week in terms of release, yes. But we have been very consistent in our recording days. And I absolutely love that. No reschedules, no nothing. Anything that late, we could always,
No, and I'm glad for that, because it's not that there's necessarily pressure, but the one thing that I like to do, because aspiring to do things is always fun, but the one thing that I think I've told myself, and I remember other friends telling me, but discipline is kind of the thing that keeps you locked in when your motivation to do things
runs out.
Kind of falls. Yeah, when he runs out. And there are times where I'm just tired to do stuff, but if I set a goal and say to myself, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna do this, that's what I'm gonna do. And yeah, unless I'm really sick, and I think even when a couple of our podcasts where I was kind of nasally or breathing heavily into the microphone,
yeah, we just talked about that. If y'all didn't know, we just talked about that.
I just wanted to be there, and whether or not I felt like crap, I felt, unless I'm completely immobile, I do feel like I gotta put my time in to do so.
It's been nice. I was just thinking about how my life has gone. Not how my life is gone, but I've been thinking about my schedule. You work every day, in which I'm sure our audience has heard us yap about week after week, but we have the gym. They heard about that too. They know about that. They love that. They want to see you. But I think I realized it so recently that it's so nice to get to talk to you, not to make it campy or whatnot, but it's so nice to go talk to a friend on a weekly basis. And for as much as this is a passion project, for as much as this is a podcast, I have to remember that, I'm still talking with my buddy. That's really ultimately what we're doing. Even if those didn't exist, I'm happy for the fact that we get the opportunity to do this.
Again, I feel like I tend to retreat to my shell. It's weird being someone who I guess considers themselves an ambivert. I think in more recent years, I'm a lot more outgoing. But there's
ambivert, I've never heard that.
Yeah, so an ambivert is someone who basically floats between an extrovert and introvert. Whether you're extrovertedly introvert or an introverted extrovert, an ambivert is someone who basically can kind of tune themselves to the situation, or have traits of either an extrovert or introvert, just depending on the crowd, depending on where they're at. So there's a lot of time I do feel like I spend by myself. Also, because I've learned to be able to enjoy being by myself. Maybe it's an only child thing. I mean, not that I'm an only child per se, but I have a half brother. So he's 10 years older than me. And so for most of my growing years, he was out in high school, college, doing his thing. And for me, I'm just kind of stuck at home or playing video games by myself. So I've learned to kind of be okay being by myself, and I enjoy the solitude. Like I said, over the past years, especially because when you're into photography and video, you also have to be kind of good at interacting with people.
Absolutely,
So
in any job.
Yeah, and also in our time in college, we're leading the Filipino club and stuff like that. So being able to like talk to people and network and also be like, hey, hang out with us. Like we're gonna have a lot of fun activities this year, like, and so from there, like I learned to be extroverted or more extroverted. But as I'm in my adult career, yeah, it's like 9 to 5. You talk to people, and then after that, you just take time to recharge. And I completely enjoy being by myself in my room, just like again playing video games or watching movies. But it's also nice to be able to talk to friends because then outside of like socializing and work, you need time to recharge from that. But then you don't talk to like people, like you don't talk to your like friends who you actually get to bounce off your feelings and emotions with.
When I was in Hawaii,
Hmm.
the people that I went with, they told me about 16 personalities. Do you know about that?
Oh, is that like with the letters and like the
Do you know
ISTJ,
yours?
IST?
What is yours
I
right now? What is your 16 personalities, bro?
I believe now I am in. So it's funny. Like I think I remember doing research about it before. I used to be an INTP. I think. God, I have to look this up right now because
Yeah, yeah. Perfect.
INTP.
Because
Okay.
I
Hmm.
took the test a year ago ish, right?
Yeah.
And I am a ENFP. But you are a what?
Ooh.
What is your most
So
recent score?
so no. My most recent one, when I took the test, was ENTJ. So
ENTJ.
yeah, ENTJ. So let's see.
We don't
Depending
match on
on
the last two letters. Okay, okay.
it's
This
okay.
is
It's
cool.
completely fine.
I
Because
don't
yeah,
care.
the
Yeah.
last letter changes you. But oh, which website you're looking at right now?
16personalities.com. So the E in this whole thing, I mean, the
Mhm.
first letter is either E or I, being
Yeah, yeah,
introverted or extroverted.
yeah,
I
yeah.
am extroverted, but
Uh huh.
you, when you first took it, you were introverted, but now your most recent taking is that you're extroverted, correct?
Yes.
Yes. For the next letter, it's either going to be intuitive or
Hmm.
observant. Take for
Okay.
that however that means to you, okay?
Yeah.
And the third letter is thinking or feeling, which is,
Hmm.
to me, that's a way big difference. Okay. And the last one is judging or prospecting.
You said ENFP, right? That's what you are.
Yeah, I'm extroverted,
Okay.
intuitive, feeling, and prospecting because I am
Got it.
definitely not judging.
I am an ENFJ. Sorry, not ENTJ, ENFJ, which is extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging.
Oh, you're a judging motherfucker, son. Oh,
That's not how
shit.
it works. Oh my god.
But no, no,
Uh,
no. But if you think about it, let us take a moment of silence to think about
okay.
everything that we have gone through, especially
Yeah.
our recent trip. I could see that you are a J and then I am a P. I could see that. We have to be different. That's why it's called a dual cast. It can't be the same exact shit.
Right, right. I don't. We're definitely not the same in that way. But I do think like the J is when you say judging, it means like you're judgmental. I think
Of
that's
course, of course. I don't mean it that way.
I do feel like I could be slightly judgmental. But that said, yes, I am an ENFJ, but years ago, and the thing is,
Okay.
over time, you can change, like your personality can change. I think I wasn't sure that was the case, but the last time that I took the test, which was like 9 years ago, I was like INTP, which is, hold on. INTP
That's
stands
introverted,
introverted,
intuitive,
intuitive, thinking, and prospecting or perceiving. I thought it was perceiving, but it's prospecting. You
prospect.
know,
I'm just reading it off
yeah,
directly the site. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You had mad letters change.
yeah,
You were introverted back in the day.
yes,
Intuitive stayed the same. You went from thinking to feeling,
yes.
and you went from judging, no, prospecting to judging.
Prospecting to judging. Yeah,
Wow. What the fuck happened to you back in the day that changed you like that?
I don't know. Well, let's see. I graduated college, and then like, I
Just
was
more life
pursuing.
experiences.
Yeah, so I graduated college and then like I was out in the field. I mean, I chose to enter the film field, so freelancing. So a lot of hustling, a lot of learning, kind of learning what I wanted to do, learning what I didn't want to do. And again, it's a lot of
Firsthand.
yeah, firsthand, especially like being a PA on film sets and having to work those overnights were like killer. Putting myself out there more and really again, I don't want to say struggling, but just kind of like on this grind of life. And so I was picking up odd jobs. I was picking up whatever I could scrounge around. It's like, you know, any opportunity that came my way, I didn't really turn away. I was like, all right, hey, I'll do it. Even if I'm getting paid like kind of like pennies here, I gotta do something about my life, and I gotta just try to find something that's consistent or will stick. And so I think over time it kind of tempered my attitude. Again, I still feel like I'm introverted, but I feel like I'm a lot more extroverted. I do enjoy being around people. I'm still very intuitive. I mean, I gotta really look up these the meanings of like each letter specifically, but I think I just started being more in the moment rather than just trying to like analyze things for the most part.
But you've
So
always been that way. You've always been intuitive.
I think so.
Intuitive compared to observant. That's kind of weird because even though I am intuitive, I'm
Mhm.
very hella observant as well. So that one is a little
That's
bit of a
why. Yeah,
mix.
it's weird because like if you think about it, also judging or perceiving, I feel like that's still part of like my skill set. Yeah, I don't
Both
know.
are
It's
there. Both are there. But when I think of judging and perceiving, it's more so judging and the opposite of and the opposite of judging. Even if that makes any sense. Like if you
right.
are, even though we didn't want to say judgmental,
Mhm.
like let's take for the definition of what the word judge means. It's either you're judging or you're not. I know that a lot of people are cool with me because I don't judge them at all. Like whatever that you're trying to do, I'm not going to judge you at all. Whatever relationship you want to have, you can have that relationship. That doesn't phase me.
I do want to read these again, or at least read the intrinsic traits of them like individually, just because like I don't think I'm a judgmental person either. Like, oh, whatever makes you feel good, like I'm cool with that. I'm not gonna go tell you how to live your life. But I feel like judging would make me judgmental. So
I
huh.
think in the sense that if you are judging, right?
Hmm.
It's not that you are judgmental towards other people, but when it comes to you and the decisions that you want to make in your life, you may not want to have, you may be less inclined to have a non-traditional kind of relationship. Am I wrong to say that?
Say it again.
Not to say that I'm into polyamorous relationships, but I know that polyamorous relationships exist. And
Right.
not to say that I could get into it for myself, but for
Hmm.
you, can you see yourself ever in a polyamorous relationship?
I haven't tried it. So honestly, I
Yo, you about to get
I
my
would.
judging on this shit, because for real, for real, for real, I know for a fact you would not want to get. If I was to make a guess on you, you would not want a polyamorous relationship.
You're
You would
probably
want a
right. I
monogamous
guess if we're
relationship.
kind of looking at the judging portion on like more of like just your general outlook on yourself and everything, I feel like I have a good beat on the things that I want to do and the things that I wouldn't want to do. Like I'm pretty open to doing a lot of certain things, but I think it's because I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do, and more importantly, what am I gonna like not want to deal with later. So it's like, okay, I probably will just avoid that, or at least have a plan in my head about like how I want things to go. That said,
Judging.
regarding polyamory, I mean, also I do feel
That's just a
like
wild example. That's a wild
yeah,
example. I
no, no,
was trying
as
to.
yeah. Oh no, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just like I guess to answer your question, I probably wouldn't be into polyamory simply because I think I'd be so focused on one person.
All right.
But that's just me.
Let me back it up though.
Mhm,
Okay. Let me not say polyamorous relationship because that is like completely all the way to the left. But a
mhm.
situationship. Could you see yourself being in a situation? Look at your wins right there. I saw that. Could you see yourself continuing a situationship even if it was bad? It was bad for
Nah,
you? No.
nah.
See?
Yeah.
And that would make you, in my opinion, more on the judgment side. Not that you're judgmental or anything like that, more on the judgmental. I know for a fact that I am more open to putting myself in bad quote unquote situations for whatever reason. And that is the definition that separates judgment from perspecting for me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
okay,
Like,
okay. Got
because
it,
history
got it.
says I have been in bad situations that I have put myself in, even
Mhm.
though I am maybe observant or I know that there are bad things about this, fuck it. I'll still do it.
Okay, now I think have a better understanding of how these things kind of like describe a person. Especially because everything else makes sense to me, but the judging portion, not so much. I think there's other like different tests out there to like kind of generate what your personality profile is. But this is probably one of the most popular ones. Someone I dated was just like kind of curious because I think depending on your letters and whether or not they mesh well together, which kind of makes sense now that I think about it though.
It could predict a good or bad relationship, is what you're saying?
Well, because of how like each one kind of interacts with the other. Because for example, like you just brought up the whole thing with like being a little bit more restrictive in kind of like what you want to do and what you're willing to do. Another one that's a little bit more open to doing certain things. And so being able to also kind of hash that out, like all these different letters kind of add up to like things that you guys are going to agree on and things that you guys will probably butt heads about. So
you bet your ass I'm going to make my girlfriend take the test.
You know
100%. Like, yo, do you know about 16 personalities?
What is an ENFP's ideal like person? Or
if you think about it now, it is kind of helpful.
I mean, I kind of want to take this test again just because I don't remember when I took this. I think it was like 2 years ago, but I wonder if it still holds true.
If you're really trying to take the test, you're going to take your time with it. But I'm thinking maybe whatever result that you get, especially when you're taking it for a second or third time because you know what type of test this is, that mentality almost skews your answers.
Right.
You may answer to what type of person you want to be than actually the person that you are.
That's true. Yeah, and I think baby, as you do these more, you really have to reflect on not what you'd ideally choose, but what you would actually do in that situation. So
hopefully those are the answers.
Oh yeah,
you actually choose what the choice would be.
But hold on, you took this test with the people from Hawaii?
I took this test with the people from Hawaii because they've already taken it. And it was at an interesting time in my life because, I just gotten out of a relationship. I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends. And for whatever reason, when I went to the trip with these guys, I wasn't really super close with all of them. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't super close with any of them. It was just a blessing that we became close after the fact.
Right.
I kind of got curious to, okay, if it is so that I didn't have a lot of friends and now all of a sudden I'm actively in a trip with them, what about us made us align in this manner? It's just kind of interesting to see how we would align in this test, knowing that we are currently on a trip right now and me and this dude, pause, are fucking cool as hell. So it was really cool because even though I was an ENFP, he was an INFP. So we matched on 3 outside of the introvert and extrovert. And, sometimes when you read into like things like astrology, you kind of fit the pieces together. But in my head, I'm like, hell yeah, I am way more extroverted than Ryan, who was introverted. But we agree on a lot of things. Like we are very non-judgmental. We're very emotional guys. And we're very, we're both overthinkers. So yeah, man, intuitive. That's what I think. I always kind of struggled whether I was truly an extrovert. Naturally, I am an extrovert. You know this, right?
But yeah, I was about to say, like, you struggled to. I felt like you were always an extrovert,
But there are times in my life, dude, where I'm actually very, very introverted. It actually pointed the fact out that it was struggling to figure out if I was introverted and extroverted, which was like, oh shit, that's how I was feeling. And how I am more introverted when it requires more social energy. If I actually have to put effort socially into something, that shit sucks. But if I'm in a group of people that I know that we have a lot of things in common, that we have a lot of similarities, I'm fucking batting that shit all day long, dude. So I was like, wow, that's actually really cool that people took the time to figure this shit out because come on now.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like because, again, as I've become more extroverted, if you would, I do think I could pretty much pick up a conversation with everyone, like with anyone, but it's not like, again, it depends on also certain social situations. Like, I'm not like, if I'm in a club by myself. Like I told you about, like when I traveled to the Philippines and I was in Boracay, kind of clubbing on my own,
That
and
was
it's
crazy, dude. I don't know if I could do that. Like I would
well,
do that and I will do that, but
that's the thing. It's like
miracles have to come into my lap.
well, so I made friends with people, but then just to kind of insert myself in any random situations, kind of like I don't have the ego or the boldness to be like, oh hey, like I'm so totally cool and this is not totally weird, like again, as someone who feels that they're pretty social, it's like I don't think I'm like that social. Like I would also still need like other people to kind of prop some energy on. But like if I'm surrounded by people I know, then I'll feel like, I can
Easy.
easily float in like that situation. But then there are times though I feel like, oh, I know the crowd's kind of mellow, so I kind of have to like be the fire starter here.
But hey, I mean, that's why you're now considered an extrovert, right? That's what the test said.
It's funny that we're talking about this because it does definitely make me think about Harry Potter. It's just
Like
like,
the sorting
oh,
hat.
Harry again could be a Slytherin because of all the traits. Well, a lot of it had to deal with like he pretty much had like he was like the Horcrux. Sorry, spoiler alert. Of Voldemort, so he could speak like parcel tongue, and all that stuff. But he chose to be a Gryffindor, and that's why the Sorting Hat chose him to be in Gryffindor because he wanted to be there. And we can be a lot of different things, but it's not the abilities that make us who we are. It's our choices. And so, yeah.
Did you take the Harry Potter test?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Who did you get?
Oh, contraire mon frere, I am a Slytherin.
You're a Slytherin.
Yes. And I
Wow.
wanted to be a Slytherin. Not that I
Yeah.
don't think Gryffindors are cool, but
Because Slytherin's the coolest fucking class, dude. You want to be in the cool club.
yeah, well, also, I just feel like they're the more interesting types. Yeah, like, because don't get me wrong, I think the opposite would easily be like, I'd definitely be cool with being a Gryffindor
I
also.
can see you Gryffindor 100%. If I was the sorting hat, I'm tossing you in Gryffindor 100%.
I appreciate that, but also the one thing that I liked about Slytherins is that so one of their traits is this sense of resourcefulness, right? And for me, it's like again, especially when you're like working on like like photo or film sets, you don't have every piece of equipment under the sun, so you have to learn how to like
Be
figure this shit
resourceful.
out, be resourceful. And so for me, that's like, and that's something that I definitely was like, yeah, this is something that not only do I want to do, but it's something that I do on the daily. Like I just have to figure out how to be resourceful or figure out things with minimal things at hand. And so I found that to be always like a cool thing. Yeah, I think that's one of the big traits on why I like being a Slytherin. I mean, there's a lot of other fun things about them, but yeah. How about you, Gabe?
I
What
got sorted with the stoners. Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff?
Baby, let's go. You know, if you was part of that was the low key cool class. You know what I'm saying?
I think Hufflepuffs are well, no, Hufflepuffs are pretty cool.
I have no idea. What is the distinction between, okay, we know Gryffindor, we know Slytherin, but the other two, what are they known for if you
So
have an idea?
Ravenclaw is basically the brainy ones, right? Because like they favor their intellect over everything else, which is, I guess, Slytherins are meant to be resourceful, slightly sneaky. Again, I guess the equal opposite of
Prospecting as well, you know?
yeah. And then as for Hufflepuffs, well, let me look this up with the
I don't
Hufflepuffs.
know, but what? Lazy? Procrastination? What is
The
happening?
traits of a Hufflepuff. Okay, hardworking, friendly, loyal, honest, and rather impartial.
Impartial. Maybe.
Modest about their accomplishments. The most inclusive among the four houses.
Let's
Uh,
go! 16 personalities, bitch!
Valuing hard work, dedication, patience, loyalty, and fair play.
For whatever reason,
Strong.
I thought they were like stoners. Like they were the laziest of them all.
I could see that because I think Hufflepuff just comes with the connotation of
Puff.
like but yeah, no, they were like again, I think they're undersung because it's always been like, oh, Gryffindor and versus Slytherin, and then Ravenclaws are always the brainy ones, and then there's the
I
fourth
didn't know
house.
Ravenclaw was the brainy one. I thought for whatever reason, Ravenclaw was the active ones. Like that's where the jocks were at, you know?
No, the Gryffindors are where all the jocks were at.
Oh.
Yeah, so for me, it's like the Gryffindors were basically all meatheads to a certain extent.
Ah.
Yeah, and so the
Interesting.
Slytherins were the ones who were kind of like pulling like sneaky shit. I mean, not that I'm a sneaky person
Yeah,
at all,
yeah, yeah. They,
knock
you
on
know,
wood,
they're
but
willing to break the rules.
yeah, but it's like a penchant for breaking rules, I guess, is part of that whole thing. Yeah, like, and then Ravenclaws were the ones who were like the smartest ones, or yeah, I think supposedly the smartest ones. Like that's why Hermione could have easily been a like Ravenclaw because she was so smart, but she chose to be in Gryffindor.
She chose?
I think at the end of the day, it's all a choice, really. But every one of the characters theoretically could have been elsewhere. Like, also, not all Gryffindors are good, not all Slytherins are bad. I think that's
That's
kind of the
very true.
testament.
Yes.
That's kind of like the testament to like
A la
how
Harry
this all
Potter
was.
history.
Yeah, all like Harry Potter history for the most part. But yeah, like again, popular one if you're a big Harry Potter fan is Cedric Diggory. He's
Ravenclaw.
basically
No?
yeah, played by Robert Pattinson in the movie, so everyone like definitely loved, you know, like Cedric Diggory and Robert Pattinson. But he was a very popular one too, and he would have most likely won, the Triwizard Cup if he didn't get killed. Rest in peace. Pour one out for him. But yeah, no, like they're very talented for the most part. And they just get outshone by the brave and like brash Gryffindors. They're not evil, like or mostly evil by like the Slytherins, who are basically all like purebloods and also like, we only accept true wizards. Yeah, I guess that is the judgmental. They're like definitely ENFJs.
That's what I'm talking about. So, bro, man, how was your week been? Do anything fun?
Nothing too crazy. Let's see.
Oh my God, we went to that party, which was the closest thing to a Diddy party. I swear to you, man. Dude, I know I was joking on Instagram or whatever.
Uh-huh.
If you were to tell me what party is the closest party you've ever been to that was a Diddy White party, it was that party, or back in the day when we played fucking nude beer pong. That was wild. I'm about to cut that.
Oh man, but yeah, I think so. We were
good time though.
Yeah, it was a good Friday night, but yeah, like it's just funny because I remember like there's this like again, it looked like almost it's not like burlesque, but like there are guys dressed in like they're shirtless, but they have like black or brown leather straps all like on them, and it's guys and girls all the way in the back area, like where like there's a bunch of sofas, and then all of a sudden there's this one girl who's like dressed in like kind of like white lingerie.
She looked like Elsa. For real. If there was like sultry Elsa.
Radiance in white. And then I didn't see it, but you told me that she was like dancing to like the DJ's music, but then at the end of the night she ended up being completely
fucking nude.
Naked.
Yeah. I was like, dude, first off, I already knew that I had suspicions when I entered this building. Okay? It was all red. It was all dark red light, which not anything crazy. Mm-hmm. The girls and boys bathroom had a painting of a naked woman, titties out, coochie hair present. And the gentleman's bathroom had like a devil dancing in that door. I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? There was a couple people there who were dressed in leather. And I was like, hey, bro, maybe we're in a gay club. No, whatever. Maybe that's where we so happen to be.
Right.
But towards the end of the night, from what I could tell, and I want to get my words correct, from what I could tell, before we saw Elsa, we saw a woman or a man. I can't even verify. Okay? Kind of dressed similarly to Elsa, but instead of white lingerie, he or she wore black lingerie. And then, I'm not sure if you saw that, he was fucking naked as well, walking down. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see that. Okay, maybe it was too fucking dark. You didn't see that. And Elsa came out of nowhere. And I knew that there was something going more off with this club when, she came out at the end, butt ass naked, and no one batted a fucking eye. No one said anything. I almost had serious thoughts that the water jug that they had was lightly laced with shit. I don't know. Maybe it's the ambiance, the closest thing that I've ever been to a white party. And I mean no disrespect to the white party because I know that sensitive matters. And I know the white parties are way crazier than two people fucking bucket naked. But man, interesting time.
Now that you bring it up, it's like you ever watch that movie Eyes Wide Shut? With
oh my god, I just saw a documentary about that, and I haven't seen the movie, and I really want to watch it.
Yeah, and it's like basically kind of like a secret. Well, I mean, this couple is like exploring this secret society where they're exploring like a bunch of different sexual escapades and stuff like that. So I guess what you're describing to me kind of seems like the precursor to that type of stuff, where it's like, oh, okay, naked. Oh, and people are dressed up very scantily and very whoa.
I almost regret not going upstairs. Like, I kind of wanted to see what was going on there.
I thought it was closed off. I didn't go upstairs because I thought we weren't allowed up there. But then all of a sudden,
there's another entrance to upstairs.
While we're sitting down, there are a bunch of like people going upstairs. Like, and I feel like, I guess you just have to say you're part of said such and such party and you can go up there.
No, you had to enter it from outside.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently that was like the workers' entrance and exit. And if you wanted to go upstairs, you had to go outside.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But I swear, like it looked like apartment stairs. It didn't even look like we were at an establishment stairs. Like wood. I was like, what the fuck? You know, like you can instantly hear creaking. But I wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
One more thing. The cherry on top to why I believe that this was an interesting party. At 12 or a little bit before 12, for whatever reason, the DJ decided to change the music of this party into like this slow Lana Del Rey type song. You know how they get her to fucking sing like trailer music, and it's like your, a song that you know from the past, but she's singing it like emotionally and slow in the trailer, right? It was that kind of music, dude. And I remember looking at you in the eye and going, something is fucking going on in this party.
Yeah, it was like a very weird vibe switch because, it's like, again, they went from like 90s, 2000s R&B music into like some weird EDM stuff. And then all of a sudden you have these like weird, like Florence and the Machine / Lana Del Rey, like kind of like these large, I don't know what it is. It's like, I guess, ballad. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like a psychedelic ballad.
Psychedelic ballad buildup. For like a trailer of a movie, right? Like something you'd see out of like The Joker or something like that, right?
Dude, it would be very difficult for us to dance to this type of music. It's undanceable. I'm not even saying that it's like slow music, like, when you're in prom type shit. That is danceable. This music was from left fucking field, bro.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that was an interesting night.
It was.
But hey, like I had a good time and just glad to be there for like my friend for her birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Also, we celebrated your birthday as well.
We kept it small, like I said that we were gonna do. I know we brought it up from the podcast before, and it was exactly how I wanted it to be. We could have done something more, and we can still do something more, but for whatever reason, you get like the birthday blues. We talked about this, right?
Right.
I'm not trying to turn the conversation in that direction, but I will say it was a very good birthday and I felt very hopeful. So I could not complain. Thank you for joining me, Doc.
Oh, dude. Thank you for having me. I mean, yeah, the restaurant was pretty good. Yeah, we had like, I think that's like one of the few photos, like, again, as someone who usually doesn't like photos of themselves, I actually kind of like the photo that, of all four of us from that night,
it was a great, that's what I was trying to replicate when we were in Colombia. Remember, like sitting outside talking on the couch.
Oh yeah,
that's the vibe I was trying to recreate. And I'm glad that we ended up buying those damn photos, because taking a look at the two that we got, they were actually really good. I can't lie.
No, those I liked a lot. I'm glad that we ended up getting the color ones, because black and whites, I feel like you could just end up like turning it black and white later. Yeah. Anyway.
Of course.
Like keep the color and then you can subtract later, of course. But yeah, dude, no, thank you for having me for your birthday. It was a great time. I mean, just being able to hang out with the boys and just have food. I feel like we haven't done something like that in a while, outside of like all four of us together. It's kind of hard because, one of us is in like the West Coast. Another one of us has like, another kid along the way.
I think it's
So
very feasible though. I know
mhm.
sometimes Jeff will bring up, my brother, he'll bring up going to Egypt. Yeah, let's go on a trip, let's go on a trip. But then usually those trips are like 5 hour flights. We're talking about a long flight. This is a big trip. And not to say that it's not possible, it is. But what
Mm,
is feasible is going to have, just going to dinner. Like that was kind of a nice feeling. It didn't have to go crazy. We could have easily added a hookah lounge at the end and, had if we wanted to elevate the night a little bit. But even just the restaurant, that was good enough for me, man.
well, not just that, but also I think, well, again, I thought like Colombia was never going to happen and it did. So it's just simply like, well, again, certain things lining up, but us coming together more often. I mean, I think this year it's definitely happened a lot more. And I think also just the want and the will to do so has been like at an all-time high. So I'm just grateful to be able to do so. Like I said, I think we're so focused on the day to day and like again, avoiding New York, trying to again find like the right person, meet people. I think we get so focused on like trying to do everything right when also we just simply need to just do and just be, you know.
Yeah, I think this year I don't feel that way as much. I know 8 weeks ago we talked about that and being wrapped up in that. But for me now, 8 weeks later, I can't say that I'm wrapped up in that anymore. I'm wrapped up in doing the fun stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
still working hard for sure, but it doesn't impact me the same amount. Where are you
Yeah.
looking? You mentioned you're looking for ladies. Where are you actively looking, dog?
Dating apps.
Oh my
Yeah,
lord.
dating apps and Hinge. Yeah, it's basically where like dating's at for the most part.
Any luck on Hinge?
Not really, or at least, it's weird because I feel like I have moments of like, oh yeah, like definitely want to go out and do things, and I do, but then I don't know, maybe it just feels kind of forced. Also, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what. I'm not trying to say it's a holdup, but I guess just what's the lightning in the ball that I guess I'm trying to hope I find, right?
Bro,
I
sometimes it
guess
scares me because it's like, I don't know if we'll ever, if we don't actively try, that lightning in a bottle may not pop up. And I'm not trying to
right,
say like, actively try on Hinge specifically, but I
right.
only thought about that idea is because I only find matches, not that I only find matches, but I only find good matches when I'm
Hmm.
actively like on the app.
Right.
It's the season of trying to find someone. We have like, that 2 weeks of loneliness where you have to go, I need to get something popping. So all of a sudden you're like, checking the app all the time, flipping
Yeah,
through,
yeah, yeah.
responding. And there are other times in which like you don't give a shit and you get a couple matches and you're just not really in the mood for it. But
Yeah, that's a lot of that too.
sometimes I get scared that if I'm not actively always there, I may not find that lightning in a bottle. Which is, I mean, I'm not trying to make it sound sad, but even my friend who I saw today, grade school
Mhm.
friend, we went for hookah right before this, and he was saying like, dude, I hope that you're like, not that you're obsessing over it, but that you're always open to it, and anything that sparks your interest, you go for. And I'm like, hell yeah, of course. Like, you don't got to tell me twice. I'm fucking on.
No, but you bring up a valuable point because I feel like so in the passing weeks, I think I've just been so focused on like on other things that the only apps I seem to have like any real time for, or at least I put time for, is like Duolingo, or I'm just trying to zone out from like certain things too. Like again, I think I've been just so caught up with other things that like again, I hadn't had an opportunity to play this game, even though I downloaded like more than 2 weeks ago. Was Death Stranding, which I had a lot of fun playing yesterday. But going back to what we're talking about, like yeah, I just when you kind of have to be on the app to kind of, I guess, put you in the algorithm. And then from there, yeah, then you'll be on the hunt and you'll find someone. But then it's like, it'll come in waves where, like, when all of a sudden it's like, oh, you'll actually get some good matches. And it's like, I don't really want to be on the hunt right now because I'm just so focused on other things. It's like kind of a weird balance of trying to figure out, okay, well, I have to do this. I guess maybe just a couple, like, in an hour or so, be like, doot, doot, doot. All right, back to work checking maybe later. I guess trying to integrate that into like my schedule, it should be something to think about. But that's kind of weird. I don't know, like,
But it's how it is now,
you know,
bro. On paper, the people around us is a less number. The amount of hangouts is less frequent.
right.
A lot of the people that we already know are cuffing up. It's just
Well,
the ultimate truth.
I
You know,
think
there
it's a
are people who
little
will come up in your life in the past and shock you, yes.
right.
But, you know,
In our defense, and I think in defense of a lot of other people, I think it's a little reductive to say like, hey, like at our age, because I think contraire, but I feel like a lot of people literally from the age of like 21 to like 51, 61 are going through the same shit we're going through. Like
oh,
New York, and
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
saw like this thing on Instagram where like New York's like rated like the worst place to date because of like the high competitiveness, high amount of single people in like, the city itself, and also just yeah, like just our culture and lifestyle just kind of prevents us from doing so. Like we're always on like, all right, I gotta do this, this, and that, or I gotta keep on going. Like if you're lucky, you find someone to be on that same wavelength and you manage to cuff them fast. But then you have to learn how to integrate their schedule into yours, and coupled by people who've probably been like, "Oh, I don't really want to hurt or like go through that type of hurt, or I just simply don't have the energy to do so." I think it's definitely a New York thing, or a city thing. Because also looking at the comment section, people from LA were like, "Yo, LA is right there next to New York." Technically, well, some of them were like, "LA is worse." Some people are saying Miami. I think it's I think our generation that like
I think in every factor, though, you can find pros and cons for everything. Yes,
yeah
there's competition. There's
yeah
also opportunity for selection. Yes, there's a lot of um, people who may be single, but you can say that for what it's worth. You know, I'm glad. I think for that reason, I'm glad that there are a lot of single people. If that is the
yeah
truth, I like the fact that I'm in New York because I can literally go outside into the city and come on, bro. We were just outside that bar and
yeah.
remember all the people walking past us. I was like, holy shit, dude, this is wildin'. Yes, competition is crazy, but if we're in somewhere else, we're not going to get the same amount of volume coming our way.
Well, yeah, I think that it works. I mean, again, matter of perspective, right? Because at the same time, in a way, I want like to find a girlfriend. At the same time, I don't know if I'm ready either. It's weird. Like you ask me today, you could get one answer. You ask me tomorrow, it could be a completely different answer.
Yeah.
It's weird when I feel like I enjoy having my own schedule and doing whatever the fuck I want. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm lying in bed and it's just like, damn, I kind of wish I had someone to talk to right now. It's
I don't know. I mean, you kind of have to figure out your own life. I think I'm
right.
ready. I think I'm emotionally ready. And it's not so much to question if is, oh, am I looking for a girlfriend? No. I'm looking for somebody that I'm crazy for. That
Yeah,
is really the feeling.
that's what
And
it
when you're
is.
crazy for somebody, it don't fucking matter if they fuck your life up.
Right.
Because they gonna fuck your life up no matter what, dude.
I know. I mean, I think you hit it on like right in the head where with that statement. It's like, yeah, I want to meet someone who like I'm crazy for, right? Like, I know how I am when I'm like really into someone, and it's like I could come up with 100 excuses why. It just takes one for me to just shut all those down, right? And so that's it. It's like, yeah, that's why I said lightning in a bottle. It's like how to find lightning in a bottle again, and knowing also how to balance out like the combination of like red flags for someone, because it's like you're always one to like, you know and I'm not saying there should be red flags, but just simply like the whole idea of compatibility and working things out with you. It's like, oh, what are compromises that I can make? What are things I can't do because I just can't do it right now,
Yeah. I mean,
so
like for me, I have to trust my body. I noticed when we were at the bar, right?
mhm.
I wasn't holding eye contact with a lot of people. But if I like you, I'm fucking holding eye contact like I'm on. I'm like, I don't even have to tell myself to do it. My body just does it. So,
Right.
it's weird because like when we were at the bar, yes, we were with very beautiful women,
Mhm.
established women. But for whatever reason, I wasn't into it. You asked me 10 out of 10. I'm just gonna say, nah, that's not really my thing. And it's not a looks thing, because come on, they did look good, but it's a vibe thing as well. When all boxes are checked off, I am automatically engaged. You know me, bro. You know me,
I know.
man. Like when
I
we're in the
know.
room, when I'm on, I'm on. And you already know that when I'm not on, whatever. What are we gonna do?
No, I get it. I'm the same way also. Like
I want to see you
yeah.
like that though, because for real, and I will say this, bro. I've been friends with you for how many years? More than 10 years now. More than 15? Maybe around there.
Oh, definitely more than that. We're at least like 15 years, buddy.
I haven't seen you crazy for someone. I haven't seen you really, really crazy for someone in such a long time.
Okay. As long as you said in a long time.
Oh, yes, of course. I've seen you crazy, yes.
You've seen me crazy.
But that's
for someone,
back in the day.
Yeah.
We were different people then. Like, I have to think in the now and how we are today. And if you were to ask me, have I seen Don crazy for someone in a long time? I cannot say yes. And I cannot wait to see that, because that will be a completely new Don. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
like,
no, this actually, it's funny because, like, you know, we've been talking about like ENFJs and like personality types, right? We think about the next person we meet and I guess how that'll change us, who we kind of become after that. It's just like, how my letters are going to change when I meet the right person. But dude, you're telling me this and like, I want to be crazy about someone.
Yeah.
Like I do.
I can't force you to like somebody.
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm just trying to think back on like that the last one and just what made me so crazy. I mean, I can describe that one easy, but I guess it's just what was like this. What were the pieces or like the setting that kind of like helped put it all together, right? You know, so
you know when you say that though, the only one true reason that was different than any other person that allowed that to happen is your feeling about that person. That's it. That's most important.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You can't say, oh, you know, and I'm going to say bullshit reasons, but like, oh, she has a fatty, or, you know, she's a good girl, right? She's a good girl. She looks good, or her hair is nice, or, you know, she danced to the R&B music that play. You know, that's a plus to some people, right? But for whatever reason it was, who gives a shit? It just clicked you on. You almost went back into this mode of, I have to try this. Because when I think about all the girls that I've ever been interested in, I was never not interested in them. And then all of a sudden I was. You know what they say? If she like you, she like you. And if she don't, she don't. And that's the same thing for me. If I like you, I like you. And if I don't, I don't. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of beautiful women in the club. Women that I could see myself with. But women that I'm crazy about? Respectfully, no. And I will say this. They were not crazy about me either. So, you know, we'll stick to being friends is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
It's crazy because when you think about, okay, what do we have to look forward to in each other's lives? And yes, we're going to try to forge the next Columbia. We're going to try to forge the next trip or the next dinner or the next birthday. And those are guarantees. Those things will happen no matter what. But the ones that I'm really excited for are next level parts of our lives. Because I know that we think about where other people are to where we are, right? And it's not if we're having more or less fun, but sooner or later, the shit that they're doing, we're going to have to do if we want to get it in our head that we're progressing in that line as well, that quote unquote race as well. So those things will happen.
Yeah.
What do you look for in a girl, Don?
Oh, dude, this could be an entire episode in itself.
Maybe episode 9.
Are we talking about physical attributes? Like physical attributes? Or are we talking about like just personality? Maybe a little bit of column A and column B.
Let us start from the very beginning.
Okay.
And the very beginning is that you see a girl. What we got going on? What are pluses for you? And I'll go 2.
Shit, I'm a little vulnerable about this. Okay, cool. Well, I definitely like a girl with like long hair.
Big hair.
But yeah, like it could be shoulder length or even longer, but it doesn't really matter. Not saying that don't find other like shorter.
Of course,
girls,
yes.
You know, but definitely girls that are like have long hair. Yeah, definitely have to think more for brunettes than anything. Yeah, I guess someone who's smaller than me.
Yes, they have to
So
be
yeah,
they have to be smaller than me. Yes.
yeah, just because like I mean, even if they wear heels, like, and they're like probably like my height, that's cool. But if they're like, I definitely like a girl who's like shorter than me. And yeah, I guess glasses are cool. Glasses are not, like, it doesn't matter to me also.
Indifferent.
But yeah, yeah, I'm indifferent to that. I guess if we're going to the more shallow things,
Yeah.
she has a nice butt. Hell
Your
yeah.
ass man too.
Yes. But I mean, look, I also I enjoy boobs. Boobs are great. I'm not like
Yeah,
I
indifferent.
I think for me, generally if I think about, like, it's either like Asian, Spanish, like
Do they
those
have
are
to be
things.
American? I think that's kind
No.
of like they don't have to be American. They can be Fabi.
Yeah.
Let us say the word we should not say.
Yeah. Like, again, if
That
they're
doesn't
like
phase you.
if they're like they just moved to like the States and they're like from a different country, that doesn't bother me. Like, that's totally fine. As long as we could like talk and have like a good conversation. I think once I start talking to you and I feel like I get like a
Oh,
really
that's
good
two.
vibe,
Yeah, that's two now.
that's
We moving on.
now moving into like, past the physical attributes and into like the more, so being able to, I guess, just kind of bond over certain things. Honestly, I think one of the ones that I bond over fast is music.
Okay,
Um,
yes. Music
yeah,
selection, big deal.
music selection I think's a big deal, just because I feel like if I can throw something on and I know you can like kind of vibe to it and enjoy the music, then that's a big one. But just being able to have like a good conversation, I think, is more important. Like, honestly, this is gonna sound really dumb, but I feel like the girls that like I kind of uh like was really, really, really into, that I think kind of like was like hook, line, and sinker, right? The times that we were out, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're either like getting food at a diner, or like we're just kind of looking around CVS. And I think just kind of enjoying like talking to them and just doing something completely, I don't know, just nothing crazy, just literally hanging out with them
Effortless
in a
conversation.
effortless conversation. And again, not that it has to be 2 in the morning, but I think just enjoying their company at such a like late hour or early hour, if you would, I think would win me over pretty fast. Like, we could literally be talking for hours and be like, oh fuck, it's like 4 a.m. and we've been out here for a hot minute. I
Yeah.
think is like kind of like the ones that really lock me in with someone. Um, and when I think about like my exes, it's like that was definitely it. Like, oh, all of a sudden I find myself out with them, and it's just like, you know what? We're grabbing waffles here at the Georgia Diner.
Yo, if you're getting waffles
Yeah.
at the Georgia Diner, dude, you know you're gonna get that fucking waffle. You heard? Come
Yeah.
on, you're already there.
Having just good conversation, just vibing together, I think that's what wins me over.
Very, very, very big deal. Yes.
How about you, dude? Like, what is your second set of
My
like
second
things
is,
personal?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's the same thing primarily.
Mhm.
But I will say that the conversations that you are gonna have are gonna be very different than what I'm gonna have. But in a sense, it doesn't matter as long as the conversation is good. Then
Oh yeah.
yes, I'm really looking for that. When people say like, "Oh, what's your type? What's your type?" It's whatever type that gets me talking, gets us talking to each other well, right? That's really what it is. It's not anything else about that. If you got no ass, that may be a problem.
Oh
But
yeah.
if we can spare it with good conversation, good vibes, and I want to be there, then that is the girl. That is my type. Other things specifically in my number two, not that I'm picky, but if I had to pull things out that was
Mhm.
specific, maybe being a creative, maybe you're into dance, maybe you're into music, maybe you're into photography. I would say a big plus is being healthy
Oh
and
yeah.
working
That's
out. You don't have to work out, but you can still be
take care of yourself.
healthy. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. I talked about this with someone recently, and one of the couple big ones there are if they're self aware, if they're attentive, if they're caring, if they can read a room well, if they're ambitious. You don't have to go so hard at work, but you have to be passionate at something. I like somebody, and let's not stick to two, but let's just go wherever now with it.
Oh yeah,
But a
absolutely.
big one would be I would like a girl who can hang. How about for you as I think of more?
I feel like as you named a whole bunch of them, now I started kind of really catalyzing the attributes I'd really want in someone.
Tell me.
Well, definitely no. Like you said a lot of them, but I guess if we're just gonna me kind of slightly regurgitate it, but in a way that I would say like, yeah, definitely someone who's like empathetic. How generally, I don't want to say like reads people super well, but they can definitely feel out the room and you know tell like, oh, okay, like be mindful of what they're about to say or what they're gonna do, especially because they may know the people and they may not, but they're just gonna be their best to like try to respect you know, how others feel and how others think, but also again be true to themselves in every way possible, Um but yeah, I think that's like the big one for me is just someone who yeah, if I could literally go into like a party, I'll be like, "Hey, so these are my friends. Again, I'll introduce you and I'll obviously, bring them into like the situation, but if they could hold their own, if they could be their own person too, I think that's like one of the greatest things that I could ever ask for, that I don't have to like kind of like
You don't have to babysit
hover.
them.
Oh yeah, hover and babysit. I mean, like, you know, just
They're actively participating in the
yeah, and they
conversation.
want to be there. And I think in ways like, they don't have to be versed in my hobbies and whatnot. But like, one thing that I like to do when it comes to my friends or people I care about, and definitely with my significant other, like with her, like I want to know what, you know, things you're passionate about. Like what stuff you're doing for your career. What are your hobbies? And from there, like I may not be ever as good as you with it. Some of them I may not even really be into, but I'll at least try to know or at least be versed in a way that, we could talk about it. And then from there, also if that's something that you like to do, again, I also completely respect if that's kind of like your pastime and that's kind of something that you want to keep to yourself. That's totally cool too. Um, but yeah, I think if she can hold her own, if I drop her in a situation with like, well, not situation, but just like a like party with friends, leaving her with like my mom, like if
It
she
is a
can get along with my
situation.
mom,
It is
yeah,
100% a situation, bro. And I love
yeah,
that
like
when they can hang.
and if they can hang and they can float along and get along and also like learn to like just yeah, especially because one of my biggest like people in my life is my mom, and like the one thing that I would hope for this is like obviously like kind of a dream, but yeah, if they get along really well and my mom
Why is
could
that a
like
dream? That seems very reasonable.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to say dream, but like the one thing that I would love for is like my mom and like my girlfriend to like
Of
be
course.
like best buddy, like really best buddies, not more best buddies than me and my mom, but like like I would love for them to get along and be able to share things, and like for her to be basically the daughter my mom could have had,
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, those are the things that I would love, in terms of like a girlfriend is just like someone who again is caring, who is nice, again, who's willing to also be, I guess, a little like bold. Like, so for example, if we're going out and I know like I need someone else to kind of be like
To
that
hype you
extra
up.
yeah, like, I think that's the one thing that would be awesome. It's just I know that there's a slight bit of an enabler like me. And if I know that like I can build that energy, like we need to like team up together to like amp this crowd, they'll be right there in the trenches with me, you know. That would be dope. Again, not all of this has to be the case for, my girlfriend. I mean, the next one may not be anything like this,
Maybe
but
she's gonna be enemies with your mom. Fuck that.
I can't do that. No, 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 no.
Dude, I
But
mean, I don't want to go into that, but that made me think that like if you is gonna be some Freudian shit, if you want someone to hopefully be good with your mom, then you kind of have to get someone that is kind of like your mom. You know what I'm saying? So weirdly
problem
enough.
is, the problem is like, they might be too alike, and therefore, if they're too alike, they're gonna like butt heads.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
they'll
of
be like
course,
the
of course.
best of friends or the worst of enemies,
Yeah.
and like you have to always be careful about that. But yeah, I think as long as they're respectful and they get along with like my parents, and that'd be awesome. Yeah, like think that's like number 3 or 4 or 5.
For
What about you, Gabe?
me,
Did you?
I have this thing that I've been doing with the women that I'm talking to.
Mhm.
And what people call it is shit testing, but I don't call it shit testing. I call it light, what is the word? Light vetting. I
Mhm.
am a big overthinker, and overthinkers, I know, need over explainers, right? That would be ideal. But I vet my women or potential women if they can figure out or if they can accept the way that my brain works. You know me, out of all your friends, and I'm not trying to blow air up my own asshole, but the way that I think and the way that I behave up here, everyone's unique. But me, I'm a little bit more, there's a little bit more requirement or paying attention to what is going on there. So I vet them by
Uh-huh.
slowly, you know, letting them know. I let them know that, hey, like, I always feel like I think very different. And not like difference of opinions. It's just how. It's not the what, it's how my brain works. And I like to tell them how I think. I like to let them know nice ways that I am very, the word is not judgmental, the word is opinionated.
Mhm.
And that's how I am. And a lot of the times when you're in that phase, it goes all well. I mean, like if you're already that far, you're kind of already good. You can kind of get
Right.
that from the first initial conversations. But yes, if they can handle me for whatever I am, then that's a really big green flag. I'm trying to think
Uh,
of more because there's actually so much when I think about it now.
yeah, it's weird. Like I said, as you say things, I feel like, again, I was just answering so like, oh, like very vague and very basic. But
We're
then now that
digging
I
the
think
hole together. Pause.
we're digging, yeah, like as we're trying to dig to the deeper root of it, rephrasing it, it's like someone who can put up, you know, some of your idiosyncrasies and be completely
Yeah.
okay with it would be
And my
great. Right.
personalities, like, and just feel the vibe. Like if I'm in a good, cheery mood, I'm with my homeboys, we're all there, like,
Yeah. I mean,
like
now that
cater to the
yeah.
situation a little bit.
I think now that you bring it up, the one thing that also comes to my head is accountable. Because, like, the one thing that I feel like I can be,
Ooh, that's a
yeah,
big one. Huge.
yeah, accountable, and I would love for them to keep me accountable too. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, and I can see this from myself. I can be guilty of this, right? Like, being this guy who wants to please people, be nice. Like, there are things that I could let fly as much as like I think I'm very much better now at like putting my foot down about things. If I really love someone, I'll be like, yeah, they didn't really mean anything by it. But then if they really fucked up, be like, yo, dude, you kind of really fucked up, things with someone. Like you really kind of hurt them about this. And you gotta fess up to it. And I think that's it. It's just like, you know, just when we talk about being mindful and being accountable, yeah, like just aware of your room, aware of the people around you, and just again for what you do, just be accountable for it. At the end of the day, it's like because again, you could have good intent, but the perception could be off, and so that's really it. But at the same time, it goes with me. It's like if I'm kind of like too caught up in my own ways, I would love for them to be like, hey, you gotta kind of change the way you're doing things because it's not working anymore, or it's just not working as good as you'd like it to be. So I think that's a big one. Like that's one thing that I think I would want, and I also hope 2024 me is far better at.
We can go at this all day. You're absolutely correct.
I know,
We can
I
have
know.
an episode. I already have the guest in mind. On We're thinking about, as we wrap up, I'm thinking about all the guests that we can potentially have. And I don't mean to cut our conversation short, but we will cut this easily to 2 hours if we don't stop.
Oh, it's funny, Gabe, because I feel like as we got into this episode, I'm I feel like I built up the momentum that I was getting at, but also this could be saved,
You're talking about the momentum of like talking and communicating?
talking, communicating, just also because we're exploring a topic that, at first I was like, oh, dang, like I'm a little vulnerable about it. But then as soon as like I kind of acknowledged that, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm totally down to be vulnerable about it.
You know, it was you that mentioned something a couple weeks ago that made me realize not to care about things.
Right.
And I think you mentioned something about you talking about things that are vulnerable to you in
Right.
the
Yeah.
past episodes.
The past
But
episode we were talking about, like, I think divorce or like
yeah,
my experiences. Yeah.
I mean, just anything that's personal for you doesn't have to. We don't even have to bring those things up. But
Right.
I don't know. There's just a lot of shit that's going on through my brain that statement that you just said is making me think of. And I'm kind of getting rattled. But I'd like to say that as we've gotten to episode 8, that I am caring less about the results of things. I know when you first start something, you're so enamored in the numbers, on the why and the how and how to get those things right. But someone told me a quote before, and I'm not going to recall the quote exactly, but the sentiment of the quote was, hey, as long as you are having fun, then that's what's most important. Because when you think about it, people from outside the podcast, when they see highlights, when they think about it, they don't know anything. They don't know about the work behind it all. They only know that we are having fucking fun. That's it. So
yeah.
I would like to live up to that standard. And I think we've been doing really well.
Like I said, I enjoy being able to talk about things like this with you, but it's funny because now it reminds me of something. So again, I've been playing Death Stranding, right? Okay, and it comes to just video games in general, I like to be very calculated about my moves, right? But it's got a learning curve. And so I was so focused on like trying to get everything right when I completely forgot about having like, oh, it doesn't matter if you do right or wrong. Technically nothing's wrong here. You just got to do something, right? And so that was kind of part of the learning curve of like Death Stranding and just video games in general, where like you will eventually learn how to do it. You just don't be so focused on trying to like avoid certain things or like be perfect. Just do, and you will find your way. Just getting over that hump and that fear of things. And it's okay to not do it perfectly, right?
Yeah, there were moments in while I was editing and making the highlights where I was, I made so many highlights and not all of them have been released. Whether it's a time thing or a self-conscious thing, for whatever reason, I am caring about it less. And, usually when you post a reel, right? For the first hour after you post it, you kind of visit it to watch it like a baby. Now, I just don't even care. When I was doing it before, it didn't feel fun. But now, for whatever reason, as I am releasing more and getting used to the motion of doing it all, it is becoming more fun. I can't seem to describe it exactly because I'm in the middle of it. But the fact that I don't care makes it more fun. And because it is more fun, I want to do it even more now. Like I have this new push of releasing them and not giving a fuck and just embracing the fact that people think we're having fun, but also fuck that. We're actually having fun.
Having fun, right?
Like it is what it is. Sometimes you get a little too calculated in it, and for whatever reason, it's just the process is getting better.
The process is getting better, and again, just I think the one, when we talk about like things that like have gone right this year, I think it's just simply embracing the process and certain things about myself, and so yeah, I think that's the best part about it. Yeah, dude. No, I've been having a blast doing this with you, of course.